Hello and a warm welcome to Federal's special program, Capital Beat. The police encounter in Uttar Pradesh, which grabbed the headlines, seems to have been lifted out of an OTT crime thriller. Gangster-turned-politician Atiq Ahmad's son, Asad Ahmad, was gunned down by the Uttar Pradesh Special Task Force along with one of his aides. Asad Khan was carrying a reward of 5 lakh rupees on his head because his name figured in the murder of Umesh Pal on February 24th this year. Now, Umesh Pal was a key witness in the Raju Pal murder. Raju Pal was a BSP MLA who was murdered way back in 2006. And it was with regards to Raju Pal's murder that Asad's father, Atiq Ahmad, recently got sentenced to rigorous life imprisonment. Now, if you look at the number of encounters which have taken place since the time Yogi has held the reins of Uttar Pradesh, the number is 183. It's not a small number. And time and again, Yogi Adityanath has said that he's going to raise the mafias to dust. Even during his election campaigns, he made speeches like Sabki Garmi Nikal Dunga. These were the kind of statements which Yogi Adityanath made. And if you look at the number, if 183 encounters have been made, and along with political statements coming from Yogi Adityanath, so the question is that has encounter become a political tool in the hands of politicians? And what is the police really doing? Why are the judicial processes being sidelined? I have a very special panel with me today to discuss this Asad Pal encounter, which happened in Ranchi yesterday. I'm joined by ex-DGP Arvind Jain. Thank you, sir, so much for joining. I have Professor Apurva Anand from Delhi University, who's an author, a political commentator. Thank you, Apurva Anandji, for joining. We have Sharat Pradhan, a veteran journalist from Uttar Pradesh. And thank you, Sharatji, for joining. And we also have Sumaya Rana, who's a spokesperson of Samajwadi Party. Thank you, Sumaya, for joining. Now, let me begin with Arvind Jain. Mr. Jain, how do you really justify this encounter? If police knew that Asad Ahmad had gunned down Umesh Pal and there was ample evidence, then why couldn't the police wait for a situation where the judicial process could have been followed and people wouldn't have raised questions on how genuine or how fake was the encounter?
So many questions were being raised as to why Asad and the other killers who were carrying a reward rupees 5 lakhs on their heads, as to why they are not being arrested. Everybody was raising this question. Even I had raised this. Yes, it is a shortcoming on the part of police that the main killers are still at large. He had an ample opportunity to surrender in a court of law. He could have surrendered it inside UP, outside UP also, because he is the named accused in the FIR. He could have very well surrendered. This person, Ghulam, Buddu Muslim, all others, they could have surrendered. It means there was no plan to surrender. And STF was chasing these criminals. Different parties were chasing different criminals. And this party, which was at Jhansi, Lalitpur area, neighboring areas, they got some information. I don't know the source of information, and they tried to intercept Asad. Asad, is the sharpshooter. The way he fired at Dhumanganj, and he shot dead 2 gunners and one advocate, Umesh Pal, who was a prime witness also, who had been kidnapped earlier by Atiq Ahmad. And Atiq Ahmad was about to be sentenced in that case. Later on, he was sentenced also in that case. He has got life imprisonment. So they wanted to bump off Umesh Pal because he persisted with the case, and his evidence was recorded, and he was pursuing it vigorously. He wanted Atiq and his family to be sentenced in that case. So he was also gunned down. He had got 2 government gunners to protect him, and both the gunners were also gunned down. Now the question is, how can people say that the encounter is unjustified? Till now, there has been no investigation, no magisterial inquiry, no NHRC report. Then the final report in the case, which will be submitted by police, generally in cases of encounter, it will be submitted in a court of law. Court of law will examine it, and if it is not satisfied, it will again send it back. And if it examines it, calls for objections, and then accepts the FR, then it is the end of the matter. Nothing has happened. Suppose both the shooters had gunned down 3 or 4 STF people, then what would have been the situation? Situation would have been that people would have said that police and STF, they are highly unprofessional people. In Dhumanganj murder also, questions were raised as to on the professional conduct of the 2 gunners of Umesh Pal. Then why did they retaliate? This is not the way to guard a person. So questions will be raised in any case. एक यूपी में बड़ी पुरानी saying है, चित भी मेरा फट भी मेरा. अगर आपने मारा तो आपने क्यों मारा? उन्होंने मारा तो आपने अपने को क्यों मरने दिया? तो ये it is just like that. ये तो गेम चलता रहेगा.
So, Mr. Jain, are you justifying in very many words the way the encounter has taken place? Mr. Jain? Yes, yes, sir.
Pardon?
No, I'm asking you that are you justifying the police encounter which has happened?
No. It's not a question of justifying it. It's a question that it has taken place. There is provision of right of self-defense in IPC. They have exercised their right of self-defense. If it is found that they have exceeded the right of self-defense, they have exceeded their powers, they will be taken to task. But you can't challenge one encounter that because 2 criminals, dreaded criminals, sharpshooters, carrying reward of ₹5 lakhs on their head, they have been gunned down. During my time, there were several encounters. I don't remember even a single occasion when opposition parties or politicians praise those encounters. Let there be scrutiny. So naturally, opposition parties, they never praise the such encounters. They always raise questions. I have been seeing this right from 79. But there is court of law, there is NHRC, there are magistrates. Let them examine it. And if they have exceeded their brief, they will be sentenced. Action will be taken against them. They will justify their action. Action will be taken against them.
Okay. You said that if they have exceeded the brief, let there be a scrutiny and the court of law will decide. Professor Purvana,
I'm saying if they have exceeded their brief,
yes,
then actually they will be taken to task.
Right. Okay. So if they have exceeded the brief, they should be taken to task. Professor Purvanand, what would you really say? That should we give that benefit of doubt to police before we actually start criticizing and saying that it could have been a fake encounter? Will we not give that benefit of doubt? Or are we to raise some more questions as far as the humane angle of the entire story is concerned and the judicial process, of course? Yes, Professor Purvanand.
It's not a question of talking about it from a human angle. It's only from legal and constitutional angle that we should discuss this issue. And so why are people worried? People are worried because what happened before the encounter and what happened after the encounter, that we cannot ignore. Before the encounter, there were announcements and there were speculation. Is he going to be encountered? This is what TV channels were reporting, asking. Is he going to be encountered? Is encounter going to take place in a day or two? Chief Minister, you look at the statements of the Chief Minister. Garmi nikal dunga, mitti mein mila dunga. Now, all these are dog whistle statements. People understand what these statements mean. And after the encounter, what should have been the reaction of the state authorities? That, well, this is what has happened. And not congratulate the police officer. And not celebrate the killing. But this is what the ruling establishment has done. And these two things, that the pre-encounter and post-encounter, pre-encounter speculation, pre-encounter threat, and post-encounter celebration. It is these two which raise question for authenticity of the version of the police. And also the past record of police across India. Because what we have seen, you must have read in the newspapers today that Ministry of Defense refused to give sanction to prosecute those officers or those personnel who were involved in killing of Nagas in Nagaland. They were also called encounter killings. And the forces had claimed that they acted in self-defense. It was fake. And it was proved that it was fake. But now, Ministry of Defense has refused sanction to prosecute them. So where does it go? And we know from past record the thousands of killings in Manipur. Supreme Court asked the government to probe those killings. The government said through its Solicitor General that the next kin of those killed have been compensated monetarily. So further probe is not needed. And Supreme Court said, no, you need to probe because these are fake killings. And NHRC has also time and again said the thousands of encounter cases that were probed by NHRC, nearly 80% of them turned out to be fake. So this has been the record of Indian police. And we cannot ignore this record. We cannot ignore this background. And that's why we should always be skeptical of the claim made by the police. Because this, as I said, that the question being raised by the question of the TV channels who were asking for these encounters. क्या encounter होगा? क्या एक दो दिन में encounter हो जाएगा? है ना? And the previous statements of the Chief Minister, गाड़ी तो पलटती रहती है. ठीक है. So all this tells you that we have an encounter culture which pervades our political culture in India and also social culture, where we celebrate mass killings. We take joy in that. And that's a sign of a sick society. Absolutely.
Sharadji, if I come to you now, what is the reality? Now, what Professor Apurvanand was saying, that, there is a culture of celebrating an encounter like this. What are you hearing, from the people there in Lucknow and otherwise in Uttar Pradesh? What is the reality behind this Asad's encounter, which took place yesterday? What are the reports?
Well, Nilu, while I fully agree with what Professor Apurvanand said and how explicitly he gave a detailed account of how things are in the country, unfortunately, let me also point out that I was very impressed by Mr. Arvind Jain's statement. The way he stated, the way he gave a long story about how encounters take place and how. But the only problem with this statement is that it was very, very theoretical. That's why I was impressed by it. In reality, obviously, nobody knows better than Mr. Arvind Jain how the police force that he has once headed, how it works. I wish, and I think a lot of people in this country would wish, that the police actually work like the way Mr. Jain perceives. The ground reality is far from that. Because the ground reality is there is rampant corruption in the police. There is rampant corruption in the police. There is large-scale corruption in politics. And that is the reason, that is the nexus between politicians, police, and the corrupt police and corrupt politicians and criminals. It started with the Congress. Every political party has done it in the state. And even today it is being done. Let me tell you, it is today one is targeting. Personally, I feel happy when one criminal goes down. It is always something to be welcomed. But the manner in which you carry out your mission of eliminating somebody, unless we start living in a state of anarchy, then there is no issue. Since we still have a constitution and still have a rule of law, supposedly a rule of law, the rule of law provides for a criminal justice system. It is unfortunate that over the years and over the decades, the criminal justice system has gone to dogs. Because every section of this society is responsible for that. But more so, because this is not the first time that such a killing has taken place, which is being questioned.
No, but Sharadji,
Asad and his father was a notorious criminal. There's no doubt about it. But Asad, I wonder if because the police themselves are saying that this was the first crime that he had committed. So anyway, but being a notorious criminal son, you ought to have, he must be trying to make his entry into the crime, in the world of crime created by his father.
Right.
No sympathies for him and his, but again, today, as long as it is being done by somebody, with somebody else, tomorrow when this starts happening with the common people on the road, which it can, because police gets unbridled. We know of cases, and Mr. Jain knows them better. The cases like Hashimpura, in which it took, of course, our judicial system takes centuries. It took decades and decades to finally bring those people to book. All policemen were involved in that. They gunned down Muslims. 42 Muslims were gunned down. Malyana, which was just next to that Hashimpura, within 24 hours, again 34 years ago, there too the same thing happened. Police had gunned down Muslims.
But
So it is
Charity,
not something new.
yeah,
Please, sorry.
you did mention that encounters have taken place in the earlier regimes also. But if you look at the numbers which are coming since late last evening, that 183 encounters during the Yogi Adityanath regime. Do you think that the encounter culture has somewhere intensified during Yogi Adityanath, if I may ask you?
Yeah, absolutely. He believes in bulldozer and encounters. And he makes no bones about it. And let me tell you, there's some confusion about the figures. The figures officially stated by the government sources yesterday by the top policeman was that they have carried out more than 10,000 encounters. Now, you know, the definition of encounters also needs the relook. The government believes that the encounter is just mudvir. It does not necessarily mean killing. So 182 are those cases in which killings have taken place. Otherwise, they have been left injured. Somebody has been, bullets have been fired on their legs. So you must have read those stories, how police behaved as criminals and decided to. And let me tell you, out of these 183, a large chunk of them were petty criminals, whom the government, this very police, announced rewards on their heads while they were in captivity. And suddenly, they, from a petty criminal, a cycle chore was made into a dreaded criminal. And because a reward is announced, so you give the big picture becomes okay. Oh, what a great task the police has done. So I'm not comparing this. I'm not talking about Atiq. I'm talking about those other cases.
Right.
We have seen Vikas Dubey. Why I want to cite Vikas Dubey? Because this Gadi Palat Jana refers to that. This is what had happened, that this man was being carted from Madhya Pradesh to Uttar Pradesh, and while being brought here, the media was told to stop beyond a point. Once it entered Uttar Pradesh, media was told to get lost, and nobody was allowed to follow the convoy. And this man, again a dreaded criminal, whom Mr. Yogi Adityanath did not take in his first round of encounters. Mind you, the first round of encounters had taken place. Number of dozens and dozens of criminals had been knocked off, but Vikas Dubey was not touched. He had strong connections with the BJP, but because he gunned down policemen, so there was natural and should be done. No sympathies for Vikas Dubey either. But while he was, just to cut the long story short, while he was being brought in Uttar Pradesh and media was shunned away, this man, he had some injury in his leg and he used to limp. He was handcuffed. There were 4 cops, armed cops, sitting in that van. This man, supposedly, according to the police theory, which sounds more like not even like it sounds like a C-grade Bollywood crime killer, that the Gadi trips, and this man pulls out the revolver of one of these armed policemen and runs away. And he's chased for 2 kilometers before they are able to kill him. This story is so beautiful, it sounds. And that is why one suspects even this theory. They were all along talking of this fellow being missing, Asad missing. This theory that is doing rounds now, the story that is doing rounds, that he was taken into captivity. One small thing I want to add. He was taken into captivity and they were looking for an opportune time to finish him off. So they took him to Jhansi. Obviously, this is the theory that is being floated by whoever. Is going for urban local bodies elections. So once you send a message, this helps BJP in further consolidating the Hindu vote, polarization. So it's everything combined into this.
Right. Okay. I'll come to Somaya now. Somaya, if you may, you can hear me. What I want to ask you is that yesterday, Akhilesh Yadav, after the encounter happened, and he sent out a tweet saying that this is a fake encounter. Now, why are you calling this encounter fake? It may be a genuine encounter which has taken place. It's a clear-cut case of an elimination of a dreaded criminal. Why to say that it's a fake encounter till the time no inquiry has been done? So,
Nilu, UP has turned into the fake encounter Pradesh. Everyone knows it. Everyone knows it. And the current regime is, attempting to break the bond between the communities.
okay.
One student, Samajwadi student leader, his name was Hemant, I think, Yadav. He was just 23. He's from Balia.
Right.
Will Yogi Adityanath ji reduce those murderers into the dust? Because the murderers belongs to the Yogi Adityanath ji's community, caste.
Okay.
That is why they are not going to reduce them into the dust. Only for the name of Muslims, he is trying to break the bond between the communities. That is why not only Mr. Akhilesh Yadav, even Mayawati, even Congress is raising the question for this fake encounter.
Okay, so you are saying that just to target the communities, these encounters are taking place.
Yes, exactly. Actually, the government, or you can say the Yogi Adityanath ji, he's symbolizing this. They all wanted to portray something different.
Okay. Okay, I have Sanjay Rana and Anil Sood also with us. Sanjay Rana is a political analyst and also representing the BJP side of the whole story. And Mr. Anil Sood is a social activist, a renowned social activist. Both of you welcome on the Federal. And Sanjay, I want to come to you now. A lot of questions being raised. Professor Apurvanand also raised questions. Somaya Sharaji also has raised a number of questions. But the whole story is that are encounters taking place to target a particular community, to consolidate your votes, to polarize the votes?
Good afternoon, Nilu. Good afternoon, fellow. First of all, it's absolutely wrong that Yogi Adityanath or BJP government or whatever the government is trying to kill some particular community to polarize the Hindu votes. Absolutely wrong. If you look at the incidents which happened yesterday, obviously it's if you look at the law, I'm just talking about the law because people are talking about the fake encounter, whether this encounter is a fake. It's not exactly. As per the Supreme Court guidelines, any encounter happen in India, obviously it's go to magistrate inquiry. An inquiry will have all the details. So before making any comment, we should look at and wait for the inquiry and wait for the report, number one. Number two, when we talk about Atiq Ahmad and Asad, they were not a so-called saint. They were not a Mahatma. They were not a Krantikari for the days. They have been doing they were the criminals and they have been doing these activities since I would say since from 1989. And government, Samajwadi government, Janata Dal or Bahujan Samaj Party have been sheltering these folks from many years. If you look at Umesh Pal, obviously Raju Pal incidents happened in 2006 and Umesh Pal was the prime witness. And what exactly happened? The Gurga and goon of Mr. Atiq Ahmad went to court in Allahabad court and they were throwing him from the 4th floor and there was no FIR. I'll give the incidents of 1989. The OP Singh was SSP at that point of time and Mr. Atiq Ahmad, did misbehave with one of the inspector and he was launching filing a case against Mr. Atiq Ahmad and Mulayam Singh called him and said no action. Look at the Brijlal, who was a DGP. I'm not talking about small people. I'm talking about SP and above. Brijlal was a DGP in UP and he was taking action against Mr. Mukhtar Ansari. And he has been asked not to do it and obviously humiliated by the present government at that point of time.
You are taking us through the whatever has happened in the past. But my question is, the current regime trying to normalize the encounter culture? Are you making it the norm that if you are a dreaded criminal, you will be shot, you will be killed brutally, and you will say that, and of course the police will then justify that, look, these are the reasons why we kill them.
Okay.
Yes.
Neelu, we need to understand what is the meaning of encounter. Encounter is you're doing some counter, you are encountering. That's called an encounter. If suppose somebody is attacking on the police, obviously police will retaliate and take some action against the people, those who are attacking them. So that's called an encounter. Obviously, if you look at it, it was a 40-round fire happened between the police and Asad and whatever the other person name. And obviously, if you look at the gun were used. It's a Wolfer P88. Obviously, so if you look at the cost, is going to be more than 5 lakh rupees. It's a British-made weapon. We need to understand why we are justifying or saying Asad was the Muslim. That's why government is targeting. No, they're targeting only criminals. And if you look at the statement of Adityanath, he said, "Mitti mein mila dunga, mafiyaon ko mitti mein mila dunga." He never said he's going to kill any religion person or any community or any caste people. Nothing like that. Obviously, whosoever is a mafia, obviously they will get punishment as per the law. As per the law. Why people are not killing Atiq Ahmad? Obviously, he's in jail. And why Asad has been killed, there was a reason behind it. So we should wait for the investigation report. If opposition party feel that this encounter is a fake encounter, they have all rights to go and file a FIR and go to the court for a very small thing. They are going to court. Number one. Number two, when they said about the bulldozer, somebody was making a statement about the bulldozer. Everyone went to Supreme Court. What exactly happened, Neelu? You know, Supreme Court simply said, "Thank you very much. I'm not going to listen whatever it's saying." The people have knocked the door off.
No, you want the entire country should be running to the courts, and police does whatever.
No.
Police
No.
and you will keep pushing the people to the courts.
There are two things. One, I'm not favoring any police or any activity of the police. Number one. Number two, I'm not saying go to the court. But if anyone feels that government or anyone is doing injustice, they have court. They can go to any court and they can file a case against any government or any person. I'm saying. So why they're creating a narrative that some Yadav killed in the Balia and the person who killed was from some particular caste? What kind of narrative we are trying to set here? This is not. No, nothing like that.
Sanjay, what is the narrative which Yogi government is setting up? मैं मिट्टी में मिला दूंगा,
माफियाओं को मिट्टी में मिला दूंगा, नीलू, मिट्टी में माफियाओं को. Do you agree? You want mafia to be there? You want mafia? हाँ, बिल्कुल. You want mafia?
Non-BJP mafia.
Hang on. I'm not made any comment between anyone. Please allow me to speak. Okay, thank you very much. You want mafia should be there in this state? If you look at the state before 2017, what exactly happened? Forget about 2016. We start from 1993 when you and we were kid. What exactly happening? Only the mafia Raj, Gunda Raj, and all the Raj. Right now, I'm not saying the government has eliminated all the wrong thing. Obviously, they are trying and they're moving towards that. People are believing on UP. UP is the number 3 in ease of business right now. Look at the kind of investment people are coming and investing. Who will get the job? All of us, those who are from UP or from the outside, they will get the job and they will run the family. We will have a peaceful life. So you want mafia should be there. Though no investment should come, everyone should be in scared life. Look at 2016. Obviously, Atiq Ahmad was roaming around the Lucknow.
Okay,
fine. And he was just showing off.
You are saying that you will get all investments if you keep doing encounters. Now let me come to Anil Sood now. Okay, fine. That's what your justification is. Mr. Sood, how would you really justify to what Sanjay Rana is saying? Because he says that you have to eliminate mafias if you want investments coming in your state. And Yogi has taken a brave decision. Yesterday he patted the backs of all the police officers who killed Asad Ahmad. Not that we are having any sympathy for Asad Ahmad, but the point is that where is the judicial process? Where are the constitutional responsibilities? Is the police really looking at that? Yes.
See, Neelu, unfortunately, our judicial system has gone for a toss. And that's the advantage which police is taking. That's the shelter police is taking. Now, fundamental rights, nobody can wish away. Whosoever may be. A criminal also has fundamental rights. It's not that they don't have any fundamental rights, and they cannot be liquidated like this. You see, there is a process to be followed. Now, all of a sudden, yesterday, STF finds them and encounter is shown, that itself raises very serious questions on credibility of police theory. Number one. Number two, if at all there was a firing, there is a system of encounter also. You don't have to fire straight. You have to fire either at the leg or at the foot or in the arm or somewhere, so that you can nab them. They are not able to harm the others. Unfortunately, in this case or any other case for that matter, it's shown that 40 bullets are fired. How? The circumstances should show that yes, 40 bullets have been fired, and these were the circumstances. If you look at the scene yesterday, scene of encounter, it doesn't show anything. It just shows two dead bodies lying there and one motorcycle, and they have guns in their hands. I'm sorry, I will not accept this theory that yes, they were firing at policemen. You see, when somebody is escaping, it's not easy to fire while running or while riding a motorcycle. It's not easy. You can't fire that, with that aiming and all. You can't fire while riding a motorcycle. Okay. So that theory itself raises serious doubts, questions on credibility of police, that they were firing at us. 40 rounds firing. You go on firing and nothing happens. What happens? You go on firing a number of bullets. It doesn't matter. What matters is whether the right has been denied or not, and whether extrajudicial killing has been made or not. So you can't wish away. You can't kill people like this. Fair enough. You have a strong intention of clearing mafia. There is a legal system.
Right.
You can't take law into your hands.
Okay. Now let me come to I'll come to you, Sharaji, but I want to get into
Just one. Yeah.
this.
Mr.
Jain, I'll come to you, Sharaji.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll come to you, Mr. Jain. So, how would you really respond? That how can you wish away that there was a possibility of an extrajudicial killing? Professor Apurvanand gave examples. We've seen a number of examples where the conduct of the police has been in question. So why will the common man believe in what UP police is saying at the moment regarding Asad Ahmad's encounter?
Let them not believe it. Police has its version. Magistrate has to play a role. Court has to play a role. There is a role of NHRC. All the options are open. High Court, Supreme Court, any court can take suo motu cognizance of the case. If anybody in the panel has some information, vital information regarding extrajudicial killing, they should appear before them. Mr. Pradhan has so many informations regarding Vikas Dubey case. Why did he not appear before Justice Chauhan, of ex-justice of Supreme Court, and give he should have given very valuable evidence against Vikas Dubey?
Okay.
Against police. Nobody came forward, gave evidence. So naturally, final report was submitted in the case and it was accepted by the court of law. So there has to be a procedure in the country. Procedure is being followed. In all the cases in which encounter is taking place, there is a procedure.
No, but Mr. Jain, the question is whether the police is also supposed to be following certain procedures.
There is a procedure which is followed.
No, Mr. Jain.
You're getting my voice.
But yes, I'm getting your voice, but what I'm asking is that doesn't the police need to follow certain procedures, follow laws?
Pardon, are you getting my...
Yes, Mr. Jain, I'm asking you that isn't the police supposed to be following certain procedures and rules of law, or they are above the
law? How can you say that police didn't follow procedure?
Without knowing anything.
Just point out one or two things.
Yes, sir, please don't speak.
That in this case, Asad did not fire, Ghulam did not fire, and police fired first. Let it be proved. They will be charge sheeted policemen, STF people. Okay. Their names have not been kept a secret. It is all there in the FIR.
Okay. Now let me get in a response from Sharaji, and then I'll come to Professor Apurvanand. Yes, Sharaji, go ahead.
Well, I wanted to point out two things that Mr. Jain is asking, why did I not go to that? I raised questions about the appointment of Justice Chauhan as head of that committee, because Justice Chauhan was an interested party. And I spoke to him also and I wrote about it. And less said, the better about the former DGP, Mr. You know who he was, who was on that committee. So, and you jolly well know, Mr. Jain, how a lot of your police officers function. I have enough dossier of a lot of people, and I have filed PILs in the Supreme Court against corrupt officers who have been to jail. So I don't need to learn how to function and how to take up these issues. Secondly, I'll just come to the point. I'm sorry for digressing from this.
Go ahead.
I also wish to point out that when they talk about taking a clear stand, this is a standard theory, and nobody knows it better than Jan here in this panel. The standard theory, same story is repeated, that they were running behind this criminal and the criminal fired, and the poor policeman had no choice but to retaliate, and they killed him. This is the theory that one heard in Vikas Dubey's case also. I want to ask the government, why, and the police and top official of the police, why was action not taken against those 4 cops who were so useless that they allowed Vikas Dubey to pull away his revolver, a handcuffed man, and run for 2 kilometers? Service revolver, there are certain rules. You must be able to protect your service revolver, and no officer should be allowed to remain in the police. He should have been suspended or removed from service. So nothing was done. So obviously they were doing whatever they were told to do and how they were told to do. Not one, so many encounters. I mentioned Hashimpura, they were in the earlier regimes. Now it has become a culture. It is a standard procedure now that you have to carry out the task no matter how. To hell with the law. I agree with what this gentleman said about the state of the judiciary. Because the judicial system has got crippled, that is why politicians find it convenient, and police is even better to take recourse to extrajudicial methods, which have apparently been used in this also.
Right.
No, I repeat again, criminals need to be taken to their logical conclusion, all right. But still, there's certain, if law is followed, it would be much. And secondly, one important thing to be answered, which the BJP spokesman was busy saying that UP has become mafia-free, corruption-free. I don't know, he was talking some other country, not this UP, must be some other UP. Because we all know, I'll just quote one case, NCRB report of 2021 contradicts what Mr. Yogi Adityanath claim about security to women, great crime, great law and order. According to that report, there is a rape in UP every 6 hours. Please count the figures and calculate. If that is great law and order, it's great. And to talk about claims is not reality. UP spends an average of about 2 to 4 crores a day on publicity. When you have publicity in your hands, you can make people believe anything, and which is what people tend to do. And it's convenient for a BJP spokesman to put up any falsehood and say this is the truth. Everybody else is a liar.
Right. So Maya, I'll come to you because I know you have to leave. I just wanted to have one question of you. Why do political parties give shelter to these mafias? I mean, I'm talking about Atiq Ahmad, who is there in the jail right now. But people do tend to think that, okay, you are sympathetic towards Atiq Ahmad and his family now. But all said and done, Samajwadi Party was giving shelter to a gangster like him. Now, why should that question not be asked of Samajwadi Party?
Absolutely.
Actually, no political party wanted to give shelter to such kind of criminals and all. First time Atiq Ahmad contested the election and he won. He became a MLA in, I think, 1989 or...
Not 89.
He was not from any political party. He contested.
As an independent.
Independent. He was independent. And then he joins Samajwadi Party, and every citizen of India has a constitutional right to contest the election and to join any party. And whatever he has done, police has taken actions, court has taken given decisions and all. Why only Samajwadi Party has to be answered for
Oh,
Atiq.
whether it is
So
Samajwadi
that is,
Party or whether
can I
it is
just come in,
BSP.
Nilu,
Yes,
for a
sir.
brief, just 10 seconds. I just want to point out that Samajwadi Party, like all other parties, have been harboring criminals. Mayawati, Congress, Mulayam Singh,
Yes.
and BJP is also continuing to harbor them. Today, there are the elected,
Absolutely,
out of the elected
yes.
members, 83 have committed heinous crimes. 83 of the BJP MLAs. This is according to the official record.
Absolutely. Yes, you please complete your point. Yeah. So Maya, you were speaking, no? Sharadji intervened. Yes. You wanted to make a point at that time?
Yes, that's what I wanted to say. What Sharad Pradhan sir has said, कि BJP has many of them having a criminal records and all. Why only Samajwadi Party? You're questioning out for the Samajwadi Party. Why?
Okay, fine. So you say that not to question Samajwadi Party only, but all parties should be questioned, right? So in a way, you do admit that political parties harbor criminals because of whatever compulsions take
And
place.
especially Bharatiya Janata Party.
Let me go to Professor Apurvanand now. Professor Apurvanand, DGP Arvind Jain was saying that, let the people go to the court and let there be an inquiry, giving everything, the entire responsibility on the people, that, look, you have to fight your own battle. Now, what does one say and how does one justify this?
As I was trying to say, what is the previous record of Indian police? And I'm not talking about only UP police. I'm talking about police across India. I referred to previous investigations. I referred to Supreme Court judgments, Supreme Court orders, NHRC investigations. And these investigations and these orders, previous orders, 2014, 2019, and even before that, they show that majority of the encounters turned out to be fake. The claims made by police were fake. Police was lying. And the most recent is the Naga one. Because if you tell the people who are from these Hindi-speaking areas that in Nagaland, in Manipur, in northeastern states, police works in very difficult conditions, Hindiwalas would believe. But it turned out to be fake killings. Even then, the security personnel are not going to be prosecuted. This is what I was trying to say. That what the previous record proves is that most of the encounters are fake. And police kills people in cold blood. That is a crime. So what our police is doing? Police is committing crime. Those who are supposed to maintain law and order, they are breaking law and order. So how can we trust them? Now, are we in custody of criminals? Are criminals going to give us security? This is a question we need to ask ourselves. And moreover, since politicians know, and since BJP, and since we are talking about crime, if you become chief minister, and if you withdraw all criminal charges against you, and you were also involved in crimes which can be termed heinous, okay? It's not that those were lighter crimes like snatching or bribing someone.
The attempt to murder.
It involved murder.
Attempt to murder.
Since you become chief minister, you have power. You withdraw cases against yourself. So you take this right to call for murders openly. And as I said, through dog whistle, mitti mein mila dunga, and initiate this bulldozer culture. Simply by saying that Supreme Court has not taken cognizance or Supreme Court has not acted doesn't make bulldozer justice right. Okay, we know what bulldozers are doing and why bulldozers are applying the way they are applying. So we know it. We know what we are doing. We are living in a state of lie and we want to justify it. Let us not forget what had happened in Ansal Plaza. Let us not forget what had happened at Connaught Place. Businessmen were killed. Police had planted weapon on them and claimed that these were encounter killings. It turned out to be fake. The Ansal Plaza killing turned out to be fake encounter.
Right.
So I'm not saying that next day it could be me or you, and therefore we should oppose it.
Right.
We should oppose it because it's unconstitutional. It sanctions the trigger happy behavior of the police. And this is against any civilized way of living or conducting state affairs.
Absolutely.
This is what civilized people do. This is what Duterte in Philippines did. This is.
Yeah.
Can I say something, Neelu,
Yes,
here?
I'll come to you, Mr. Sood, but I want Sanjay to respond because he had been raising his hand. So, Sanjay, do you want people to believe that whatever is happening is all right? Yogi Adityanath will continue to use this as for his political benefits, and you seem to be fooling the common man. Why should the common man on the street not worry with this encounter? Today it's Asad Ahmad. Tomorrow it could be me or somebody whom I know.
Neelu, I think Asad Ahmad and Atiq was very innocent for you and rest of the fellow panelists. Those were trying to shadow. No, I'm not assuming.
No, don't assume and start casting aspersions. I'm not going to allow that, Sanjay, please.
I was just hearing somebody was just talking.
I have precondition like that I'm having.
I'm coming.
Nobody said that he was innocent.
Not allow this.
No. The way you are portraying the story, he was so innocent. And Modi.
Nobody said innocent.
Innocent people. Okay, I'm coming to the point.
Yes.
Next. Well, why are we creating a narrative? The gentleman who was talking before me, he was saying it's happened in past. We are here discussing about the Atiq Ahmad son's encounter, and we should stick to that. If they feel that anything is, the police has not done the justice, they have not followed the SOP, proper SOP, which they have to follow. Obviously, they have to wait for the report, number one. Number two, if still they're not believing, then they have all the rights to go to the court. But people are not believing. People are just saying Modi government is doing injustice with the Muslim. First of all, I need to understand. Tell me the name of the chief minister who's calling SSP. Tell me the name of the chief minister who's calling a DGP not to take the action. I can name one chief minister of Uttar Pradesh who did twice, and it is there in the record. But people can tell me that where chief minister is calling and not to take the action. People are here justifying the crime. If I'm not saying that whatever the police, whatever the police is doing, I'm justifying. I'm not here to justify. Police do the mistakes. And obviously, if they've done anything wrong, we have all the rights. All of us have all the rights. A citizen of India have all the rights to go to court and raise the bar and raise the question. But saying he was very innocent,
the saddest
people
part,
are just
Sanjay,
police just scared.
Saddest part is that you don't believe in the fact that the police also should be following certain legal procedures.
No.
First
of all, police has a SOP. This is called SOP, the standard operating procedure. They follow it. And you and I cannot decide, Neelu. We are not the experts who can decide. Obviously, details are submitted.
No, we cannot decide.
How much we know.
We cannot decide, Sanjay, but we have to question the procedures.
On what basis you're making question or somebody else raising question without knowing the fact? Look, what we know, we have seen the visuals, we have seen the reports on television. That's it. We haven't gone there. We have not seen anything. We have not got the details of the reports which police has submitted. We should wait for the same. And as for the chief minister's concern,
No, Sanjay, you want us to believe that whatever encounters happen, we must not ask questions. We must believe.
No. I'm not saying. No. Hang on. Any encounter as
you are implying. You are not saying, but you are implying that.
I'm saying what I'm trying to say. You're not trying to listen. That is different issue altogether. Any encounter in India, if it's happened, any state, forget about Uttar Pradesh. There is a guideline made by Supreme Court. There should be a magistrate inquiry. Magistrate will take all the details. This is a procedure.
Has any magistrate inquiry?
Okay.
Yes. Vikas Dubey case, Sudhirji. Vikas Dubey case is very much there. Very much there. Recent example.
Yes. Okay, Sanjay. Now I'll come to Mr. Sood, and then for the final comments, I'll go to Professor Purvanand. Yes, Mr. Sood, you wanted to make a point.
See, a student was killed somewhere in 93. That fake encounter case has been decided now. my friend Sanjay suggests that we should go to police and file a case against co-policemen. Is it possible in India? Number one. Number two, when you say you wait for the report, you know, everybody on this panel is expert. My other co-panelists, they are experts on this. How the reports are tailor-made, how the reports are, prepared, and how the evidence is planted. It's not a rocket science. It has been repeated in number of movies also, which some of which are factual stories. So, do you think courts are so easy to approach? Who will bear the cost of litigation? Who will bear the trauma of litigation? Are you suggesting?
No. I will. If you have anything, come to me. I will find your case.
Please keep quiet.
Hear him out. Yes, Mr. Sood.
Please keep quiet. I didn't interfere in your this thing.
No. Just 5 seconds.
Please,
If you have
please
all the
keep
evidence,
quiet.
please come
Sanjay,
to me.
please don't make those
I will bear
unnecessary
all the
interventions.
cost.
No, Sanjay,
Please
allow
keep
him to
quiet.
finish his point. Allow him to finish his point.
Please.
Yes, Mr. Sood. Yes.
See, do you believe that people should get into rigmarole of defending or self-defense or proving the wrong when it is the fundamental duty of the state to ensure justice? When it's fundamental duty of the state to follow the mandate of law. Let him tell me how many Supreme Court judgments have been flouted in every case. Those are not followed. Those are more often flouted. And Supreme Court has come out with, police modernization of police for how many years? So do you think that everything we should go to Supreme Court and then it should be decided? Why you want to penalize people with the cost of litigation, mental trauma, insecurity?
Last word. I'll go to Professor Apurvanand now. Yes, Mr.
So just concluding it, that nobody is advocating the case of not clearing mafia, but in a legal way. It's not a legal way to liquidate somebody, and then if somebody questions you, say you are sympathizing. That's unfair.
Absolutely.
That's totally unfair. You have to be judicious.
Absolutely. Yes, Professor Purvanand, you wanted to make a point. Then for the final word, I'll go to Sanjay. Yes, Professor Purvanand.
I think we assume that we live in a country which runs by rule of law. And what is rule of law? That we have to understand. Who is defending here Atiq Ahmad, or who is defending here Asad? No one in the panel is defending Atiq or Asad. What we are trying to say is that the manner in which criminals are being dealt with is wrong. And this is very worrisome. And it also shows that actually the police is weak. The police is weak because it cannot arrest, because it cannot muster evidence, and because it cannot prosecute properly. And since it's weak, it kills people. It kills people to satiate popular feelings, because people are, there is anxiety in people. Crime is taking place. So to satiate popular feeling, what do? You do instant justice. And that instant justice is this encounter killing. And by doing this encounter killing, you tell the people that, well, crimes had taken place, and here is the answer to the crime. But this is not the answer to the crime, because as we witnessed in Hyderabad, where it was
2 minutes
a rapist of that woman, and they were encountered. What later we found that all of that was fake. But what happened meanwhile? Because people celebrated those killings, rapists have been killed, and there was all-round celebration, and policemen were also praised. So this is what we are doing. It's shortcut. Police is not doing its duty.
Absolutely.
And we are celebrating. We are turning into a very sick society. That is my worry. That now what we are doing and what our politicians are doing and what those people who are in charge of the state, who have power in their hands, are doing, they are promoting this lynch culture. This is, in fact, a lynch culture, lynch mob culture. Police is acting in this manner.
Absolutely.
That is the worry.
Absolutely. Yes, Sanjay. Now you've heard about the worries, why we are raising questions, and I want to put it on record. No one of us here is a sympathizer of Asad Ahmad. Before you again say that. Yes. Now, Sanjay, your final word.
Nilu, I was hearing very carefully to gentleman who was just speaking. He said, obviously, Apurvanand, Professor Saab, and he said that the criminals are not treating with the law of action, whatever the procedure is concerned. Professor, you need to understand, we have human rights. When you talk about the human rights, we have human rights for the policeman as well. I'm not justifying the police activity, whatever, all the activities. Obviously, they do mistakes. I'm agree to you. I'm not denying at all, but we cannot generalize the statement that whatever the encounter is happening, all the encounters are fake. So we need to understand which encounter is we need to raise the question on an encounter, on which encounter we should not raise the question. If you feel that police is weak, then obviously is not a right statement. As a citizen of India, we should say that. We are not empowering police to take the action. If police is doing anything wrong, then we need to stick them and we need to stop them, obviously. Not as a citizen, as the governing party.
But has Yogi Adityanath ever stopped the policeman from indulging in an encounter?
But
rather you hear statements, gaadi palat jayegi.
Gaadi palat jayegi. If any accident happens, you or I can control. No, we cannot control. Number one.
But this is what dog whistling is. This is what dog whistling is. And the political
second statement, what Yogi Adityanath said, the mafia ko matti mein mila dunga. So we are just not taking the mafia, just taking mitti mein mila dunga. Yogi Adityanath is taking action against the people, those who are anti-social elements, not the general people, you and I. The police is not coming behind us. Obviously, we are raising question. Gentleman is raising the question. Sudhirji is raising the question. But police is not coming behind him or behind us. Because we are living in civilized society, we know how we have to live, what we have to do, and what is our duties and responsibilities. We follow it. If somebody is not following their duty, they're not following the procedure, normal society procedure. Obviously, a government is an agency who will restrict it. They have to make sure that everything falls in line, and which they are doing it. Please understand. Again, I'm saying, I'm not justifying any killing. I agree. But all the killings, whatever the killings we are discussing, whether it's Asad Ahmad killing or Mr. Dubey's killing, obviously they were not the innocent people. They killed 7 policemen. If you're talking about Mr. Dubey, and why it's happened, I maybe different story altogether. If you feel that an investigation is required, we are happy to. Government is happy to do the investigation. As a lawyer, I can go and just file a case for you. But we should provide the evidences. People need to provide all the details to fight against them. We are just talking on the screen and the TV media that is all XYZ happened. I did my schooling from Northeast. I know what was the situation there and how police were facing a problem. I'm talking about CRPF and the army, as well as the local police. I know all of them. I've seen from my naked eyes. So we need to understand that rather than making a general statement. We can make the general statement, create a question on the government. Sometimes we like government viewpoints, sometimes we don't like viewpoints. We have a different ideas. Obviously, we are living in a democratic country.
No, Sanjay, I'm sorry. You might say this point, but we don't buy this argument at all. Yes, Professor Apurvanand, you wanted to say something, then we'll wind up the show. Yes, Professor.
As I said, that any particular incident should be investigated, and this is not a comment on a particular incident. But how do we conclude about a particular incident?
Yes.
We conclude by precedence. What has happened? And what is the past record? And the past record shows that claims of the police in majority of the cases turned out to be fake. Police was lying. We know it. And therefore, the pattern tells you that don't support it, don't celebrate it. Be skeptical about it. And when the political leaders start celebrating it, then you must worry.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And that's why I said that what happened before the encounter and what happened after the encounter tells you about the authenticity of the encounter.
Absolutely. I think you've summarized it very well, Professor Apurvanand. And Sanjay, you might say whatever you want, but we will continue to raise questions, and we cannot allow encounters to become the norm of the day.
We should raise questions.
The encounter culture. That's the bottom line. I'll have to end the debate here. Thank you so much, Sanjay, Professor Apurvanand, Mr. Sood. It was wonderful having you on the program. And one appeal to the viewers who are watching this discussion: subscribe to our channel, send us your feedback, and stay tuned to the Federal. Thank you so much.
Subscribe to the Federal's YouTube page for more interesting updates.